How's it going, everybody? Chaos Gaming here, and no, we are not back with Ultra Impact. Also, we are not back with Ultra Rumble as well. What we're doing in today's video is me talking about my rewatch of My Hero Academia Season 1. I'm currently doing this because the final season is coming up in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I don't really know, but we are getting up to October 6th very soon, and I wanted to do this alongside my brother because he's never watched My Hero before, so I really want to see how his opinion is throughout the entirety of this series. And since I thought about that, I was like, hey, why not make a video series about this with each season, not only giving my opinions about each episode and how I felt about them rewatching, but also from somebody who's never watched My Hero before, tell you guys his opinion as well. So with that being said, let's not waste any more time. Let's blow this shit right the hell up. And ladies and gentlemen, let's get started with today's video. And you can let me know down below your opinions as well of Season 1. But try to not make it too long. If anything, make it like 2 paragraphs to a paragraph. Because, listen, all I gotta say is I've seen some community response videos before. And from Twitter, when you got the premium account, people be typing away. So let me make sure I put a little bit of a limit on that, because if anything, if we get a lot of comments, what I would love to do is put you guys on YouTube as well and show your guys' opinions as well. However, let's get started. How we're going to be doing this is we're going to be on Wikipedia, and we're going to be reading out the description of each episode, and then once I'm done reading the description, I'll give my overall opinions. And then I also want to give a little bit opinions that my brother talked about with some of these episodes as well, or just something about Season 1 as well. In a world where most of the population is gifted with special powers known as quirks, Izuku Midoriya is a young boy who always dreamed of becoming a hero, despite not having a quirk himself, until one day he is attacked by a villain made of sludge, and is rescued by none other than All Might, the best hero in the world, and his idol since childhood. After seeing Izuku is saved, All Might starts leaving with the villain in his custody, but Izuku grabs onto his legs and ends up flying with them. After All Might lands on the rooftop of a building, Izuku asks if someone who does not have a quirk will also be a hero like him, and that's how we end off episode 1. Which, one thing that I really do love about episode 1, or you could say 2 things, is the world building around it and how they explain how quirks has basically changed people's lives, and this new profession is being introduced called heroes, which makes it to where, you know, it keeps people safe. And while there also is people that use their quirks for good, there's also people that use their quirks for evil as well. That's what I really like. You know, you show how the world is revolved around these powers. Now, another thing that I really do like about this episode is not that they only do that, but they also show us Midoriya, how his life is lived as a character that doesn't have quirks whatsoever, which, as we know, he got bullied for it. Basically, nobody had hope in him becoming a hero at all. I mean, even his own mother, she basically told him, I'm sorry, you can't. You just cannot be a hero at all. But despite that, Midoriya always fights those opinions and tries to be something that is unreachable. I really do like that. And if anything, this is just for most people. If they hate Bakugo because of how he acted bullying Midoriya for entirety of his life, I understand that. I really do. He was a total bastard to him. And it didn't make sense of why he had to do that. He could have just left him alone and that's it. He could have like silent bullied him. He didn't have to go up into his face and basically do all of that. But we all know the reasons why he even started doing that in the first place. But that's episode 1. Move on to episode 2, which is what it takes to be a hero. Izuku discovers that All Might's true form is that of a frail man. I don't know what that word means before man, so we're just going to say man and that's it. Who suffered a massive respiratory injury 5 years ago, preventing him from using his powers for longer than 3 hours a day. All Might tells Izuku that he should give up on being a hero and focus on a more realistic dream. Disheartened, Izuku makes his way home only to see his classmate and bully Bakugo attacked by the same sludge villain that All Might captured, who escaped when Izuku latched onto All Might. With no heroes around able to fight the villain, Izuku rushes in to help Bakugo by instinct. Now, he shouldn't say with no heroes around, or the Wikipedia should not say with no heroes around able to fight the villain. He should say that the heroes did not know what to do going up against the villain, because basically none of their attacks would be able to get the sludge villain off of Bakugo. That's what happened. So I think it would have made more sense if they said it like that. So Izuku rushes in to help Bakugo by instinct. The sludge villain recovers and attempts to attack Izuku, but All Might saves him, and Bakugo then... you see, this doesn't make sense, right? But All Might saves him and Bakugo then defeating the villain. They should have said, but All Might saves Bakugo, then All Might defeats the villain with only a singular powerful attack. All Might meets up with Izuku again and tells that he can become a hero, bringing Izuku to tears. Which, hey, I mean, it makes sense why even Midoriya got brought into tears, because all his life, people were telling him, no, you can't. You're worthless. You can't. And the one person that is his inspiration finally tells him those words that he wanted to hear for so long. You can become a hero. Now, another thing I'm going to get on the Wikipedia's butt for is that why did you not say with that singular attack, he was able to change the weather? Because me rewatching this, I was like, damn, All Might really is the GOAT, bro. Because look what he was able to accomplish. Not only did he get the sludge villain off of Bakugo, but he was flexing as well. All that aura in this episode was just him going off on that villain and changing the weather. Oh my god, it's so sick, man. Every time I see All Might on the big screen, it's just like, that's my GOAT. Alright, but now episode 3, Roaring Muscles. All Might tells Izuku of his quirk One for All, a sacred torch that is transferred its strength from person to person, increasing its strength each time it is passed. While All Might believes Izuku to be worthy of his quirk, bestowing it to him right away would ruin his untrained body. All Might then designs a 10-month training regimen to ensure that Izuku can become a vessel that can carry it. After 10 months of intense training, Izuku becomes more refined and muscular, with All Might now deeming him worthy successor of One for All. All Might gives Izuku a piece of his hair to eat to transfer his quirk to Izuku through his DNA. Which, you know, I like that. That basically what Midoriya had to do was make sure that his body was trained enough to get One for All, because at the end of the day, he would have basically, you know, as All Might stated, exploded with his body. That was funny. I like that. And then, but also funny as well with All Might, I think it was like one part where he was wearing a bathing suit that had polka dots on it. I'm like, come on, All Might, what are you doing? You're a grown man wearing polka dotted bathing suit? Like, what are we talking about? If they add that into Ultra Rumble, that'd be funny. But let's move on to episode 4, which is Start Line. After receiving All Might's quirk, Izuku attends the exam for the prestigious, I hope I'm not saying it wrong. You know what, we're just gonna go with that. UA High School for Heroes in Training. Izuku's lack of experience causes him to quickly fall behind the others until one of his fellow examinees, Ochako Uraka, finds herself in serious danger and he runs to her rescue. He manages to use One for All to unleash a powerful punch that instantly destroys the giant machine. But the sheer power of the attack also breaks his arms in the process. 1 week later, Izuku receives his examination results from All Might, who will be the new teacher at UA High. The latter showing the video of Uraka asking one of the teachers present, Mike, to give her points to Izuku because he saved her. Despite Izuku scoring 0 points on the practical, he scored 60 rescue points, which gives more than enough to pass the exam and enrolls into UA High. What I really do like about this episode, though, is just like how we get to see One for All in Midoriya's hands, and it's just absolutely crazy that he was able to blow that big robot away. But the side effects of that is just like, damn, bro, like his arm and everything just messed up like that. Now, while All Might does give a little bit of description of how All for One works, my brother was saying was like, for the last 2 months, why didn't All Might try to explain like how would the power be able to like weaken down, or like how would he be able to control it more so than anything? Like give him a little bit of lessons in that. But you know, what we saw happen. We basically had to see the side effects of what he uses One for All for. But overall, really good episode. One thing I didn't like though about this episode is Present Mike. I forgot that Present Mike had a change up in season 2 of his voice. Season 1 dub Present Mike, I am not a fan of whatsoever. I am glad that they changed it and we got the GOAT that is currently voicing Present Mike today. Truly happy that we got that. But let's move on to episode 5, which is What I Can Do for Now. Izuku begins his first day at UA as a member of Class 1A, along with Bakugo and Uraka. The homeroom teacher Aizawa holds a physical test to evaluate how the students use their quirks, threatening to expel the worst ranked student. Unable to use his quirk more than once without breaking his bones again, Izuku only has one shot to get a good score during the pitching test. He throws his pitch and at last second, he concentrates One for All through his fingertips. The explosive throw gives him a high score, only breaks the bone in his finger, and impressed not only his classmates, but his teacher and All Might as well. Now, this was a really good episode because I liked how Aizawa stepped in and he was like, yo, Midoriya, what are you doing? Are you trying to mess up your whole arm and body again? Buddy, you gotta control your quirk. If you can't do it, you might as well not be a hero at all. Giving Midoriya that confidence that he needed to basically pop off. Another thing that I found funny about this episode was when Uraraka threw her ball, it basically went for infinity. That was funny as hell. I was like, damn, bro. Y'all ain't competing with her. But let's move on to episode 6, Rage You Damn Nerd. The quirk apprehension test ends with Izuku ranked last. However, Aizawa revealed that expulsion rule was a ruse to bring out the best in the class. Much to the students' shock, the next day Class 1A undergoes the hero basic training class where All Might is the teacher. Now, donning their own hero costumes, the students are assigned to mock battle between teams of 2 to test their combat abilities. Izuku is paired with Uraraka, who he has since befriended, and his opponents are Tenya Ida and Bakugo. With the latter enraged after learning Izuku has suddenly got a quirk, Bakugo immediately attacks Izuku when the exercise begins, but is shocked when his attack is predicted and countered by him. Izuku tells his bully that he is no longer the weak and defenseless Deku he always mocked. Now, I really did like this episode because Midoriya, he was talking his shit throughout that whole fight. He was like, yo, Bakugo, I'm not that same kid anymore. You're not gonna mess me up. I'm gonna be the one that wins this exercise. And that's what he does. He wins this exercise for free. But mind you, now Bakugo was going crazy as well. He wanted Midoriya 6 feet under. He wasn't gonna kill him, but he was gonna make it seem like he might as well been killed. With the way he was going off on him, crazy, dude. And if anything, what I like is that throughout each of these episodes, it's like Uraraka and Midoriya's friendship, it just goes stronger and stronger. Like, I really do like the dynamic of Midoriya and Uraraka. Uraraka is one of my favorite female characters in the show. Back in the day, I'd probably say more so like, it would have been Hado because of her personality, but we really do get more screen time with Uraraka than Hado, so you gotta put Uraraka up there, dude. I just love her personality and anything, more than anything. So that was episode 6. Let's move on to episode 7, which is Deku versus Kacchan. A flashback shows that Deku and Kacchan grew up in the same neighborhood and have known each other since they were little kids. Bakugo was always surrounded by praise for his innately powerful explosion quirk, causing him to always feel superior to everyone around him. However, Izuku still never treated Bakugo like he was better, and even tried to help him after he fell into a river. Bakugo only took this as an insult, like Izuku, despite being quirkless, was looking down on him. That same anger has carried over the years later into the battle trial. The mock battle continues with Izuku barely holding against Bakugo's devastating attacks, leaving Uraraka to face Ida by herself. Unable to win against Bakugo, Izuku uses his quirk to redirect one of Bakugo's explosions to destroy the area Ida is in, incapacitating him and allowing Uraraka to win the battle by capturing the bomb. Which was crazy that Midoriya was thinking that far ahead to use One for All and Bakugo's quirk to try to explode basically the entirety of the building and then let Uraraka just touch the bomb and win for free. And if anything, that's our first instance of seeing Uraraka use the home comet run, which in Ultra Rumble, pretty insane that we don't see that until she gets her quirk skill set. Pretty insane. I think if anything, she should have had that since the beginning, because most of the moves in her regular moveset is stuff that she made up. Like, come on. That's insane. But overall, really did like this episode, and if anything, it did show with Bakugo, like, damn, not only is this guy Midoriya different, there's other guys as well that are just as different. So now, let's move on to episode 8, which is Bakugo's start line. As Izuku is taken to a nurse's office to heal, Bakugo watches the rest of his classmates battle and become intimidated by how strong some of his peers' quirks are, which, as we talked about a little bit earlier, is starting to notice that. After recovering from his injuries, Izuku attempts to cheer him up to the point of sharing parts of his secret with Bakugo. Now, I got a question for you guys. Probably, did I already ask a question? I don't know, but this is a question I really want to ask you guys. Let's say you're in the same predicament here, right? Would you even reveal a hint of a secret of the quirk that was given to you by the best hero to your best friend? I'm sorry, I wouldn't. Because look at what's happened to me throughout the entirety of the years. I get this one opportunity to finally get to be the best hero in the world. If All Might says don't speak about it, I am not speaking about it at all whatsoever. I'm staying loyal because of what that man has done for me. And if anything, I'm surprised he cared so much about even trying to tell Bakugo after what Bakugo has done. But we all know Midoriya, he's like super nice and everything, so if anything, he felt bad for Bakugo. But let's keep on going. However, Bakugo refuses to believe him and responds by admitting defeat before storming off. He warns Izuku that he is just getting started and will not lose again. All Might arrives to counsel Bakugo again, but Bakugo refused and promised to surpass the #1 hero without his help. Meanwhile, news that All Might is teaching at UA are received by some individuals with contempt. So episode 9, yeah, just do your best, Ida. During Class 1A's homeroom class, Mr. Aizawa announced that the class needs to elect a representative, which gives a chance for students to gain extra recognition. Much to his surprise, Izuku is chosen as the class president by popularity, but he ends up relinquishing the position to Ito when he and his friends find him more suitable for the position. Surprised that they don't mention as well how he got that position in the first place was because the press came in, but people didn't know that. The students did not know that at all. If anything, they thought it was a threat of villains or something like that. So what Ito did was he went on top of the, I don't know, the wall you want to say, the emergency exit, because that's the nickname they were giving him for a little bit, emergency exit, with the help of Uraraka, and basically calmed down the situation. And that's what led to Midoriya believe, you know what, Ida should be the one that's class representative, which I agree. I always thought Ida was that guy that gives off leaderships and vibes. I mean, Midoriya is smart as hell, and one day he probably would have fit into that role, but now is not the time for Midoriya to even do stuff like that. If anything, it made more sense that Ida got that role. And Ida and Yaoyorozu, as we've seen throughout the entirety of the series, like, they got on lock with that. But let's see. Class 1A is assigned to another field exercise where they meet the famous rescue hero 13. She greets them and shows the students around her facility the USJ, Unforeseen Simulation Joint. I bet y'all forgot what that even was. But shortly after explaining the exercise, a horde of villain known as the League of Villains suddenly appeared through a black portal before them. Now, my memories were messing with me here because I thought the first time that I watched it, they were doing the exercise, then the League of Villains show up. What happened was the League of Villains just showed up right away. I was like, damn, what the hell? We can't get at least a little bit of exercise going for them? But that's besides the point. Oh, actually, another thing that I do want to talk about as well is that while they were doing the training of All Might, I would have loved to seen a little bit more fights pop off, especially with Fumikage, because you guys know me, like, I love my Bakugo, I love my Midoriya, I love my Shoto, I love my All Might, but Fumikage is just as cool as them, like, I'm not gonna lie. If anything, if we have to go based off, like, strongest, like, you know, the big three being Bakugo, Shoto, and then Midoriya, and after that, I think you could just put Fumikage right there with them, bro. Like, why not? Just like Fumikage's right there with them. Like, he's absolutely insane. But let's move on to episode 10. Yes, Encounter with the Unknown. The warg villain Kurogiri uses his powers to scatter the students throughout the facility in order for the other villains to ambush them to attract the attention of All Might for a trap. Izuku ends up stranded in underwater and surrounded on a ship, along with his classmate Froppy and Mineta, the GOAT. This is when Mineta starts to pop off and we see 1% of his power. Despite being heavily outnumbered, the three coordinated their powers to defeat the villains and escape the area at UA in the nurse office. All Might tries to contact 13 and Aizawa, but is unable to, despite already surpassing his 3-hour limit for the day. All Might plans to go see the USJ in hero form to investigate elsewhere. Ida is chosen by the others to break through the enemy trap and call for help. Now, episode 11, Game Over. As the students continue to fight for their lives against the League of Villains, both teachers are defeated by the strongest amongst the villains. Ida eventually manages to escape with his friends, helped to call for backup from UA, knowing that the group cannot fight off reinforcements. The villains plan to retreat before beginning their escape. The League of Villains leader Tomura Shigaraki attempts to kill the nearby Izuku, Froppy, and Mineta, but is interrupted by the appearance of All Might himself. And even before then, when he tried to kill them the first time, Aizawa came in clutch with the sealing of quirks. Otherwise, Froppy would have been dead for free. Oh my god, that would have been sad. Imagine one of the students already getting murked in season 1. And a lot of people love Froppy too. So the fact that that would have happened, we probably would have never got the love that she got now if that's okay. Because she already would have been for free. I'm sorry. But let's move on to episode 12. Oh my god, this episode is so goated. One of my favorite episodes in the series. After All Might's arrival at USJ, Shigaraki unleashes his secret weapon, the multi-quirk monster called Nomu, against All Might, who finds himself struggling to inflict any substantial damage on the monster. All Might pushes himself beyond his limits to overwhelm Nomu's shock absorption and regeneration quirks with numerous rapid full power attacks until he launched outside the facility and knocked out much to the students' awe. He declares that the League of Villains are finished, much to the displeasure of Shigaraki. Now, my brother, he loved this fight. This fight to him was absolutely crazy. If anything, he thought that the Nomu went to outer space. because of how badly All Might knocked him up in the air. And if anything, I think they should have said it like that. Like, why not put the Nomu in outer space and he's just dead? That's it, because there's no way he could breathe in outer space. I refuse to believe that a freaking Nomu, which we know what Nomus are based off of. We all know this, but for the people that probably don't, rewatch My Hero with me at this point, and you'll find out what Nomus are based off of. But yeah, insane episode. One of my favorite episodes in the series. And then we got the final episode, In Each of Our Hearts. Although he was able to defeat the Nomu, All Might has no energy left and is defenseless against Shigaraki. But Izuku manages to stall the enemy long enough for the other teachers to arrive and force him and Kurogiri to retreat. As the leftover villains are captured and the students are rescued, All Might thanks Izuku for saving his life, but warns that fighting past his limits has reduced his power limit to only an hour a day. Shigaraki confirms with his master, implying that their feud against the heroes is just beginning. Later that night, Izuku has been recovered and released from recovery girls' infirmary with his wounds treated. He finds Uraraka and Ida waiting outside the school and walks with them. Elsewhere, an unidentified figure standing on a rooftop stares down the city, aka our boy Stain, who I can't wait to see my brother's reaction on that villain. Oh my god. That, because he was saying too that it's insane that Fumikage is not in Ultra Rumble, and that's what I'm saying, dude. If Fumikage is not in this next season, I'm gonna go to Bandai and I'm gonna have a few words for them and a few actions for them as well. If they do not add Fumikage this season that's coming up. So before we end off today's video, I just want to say real quick, currently we are on Season 2, Episode 6. We are on the fight. Well, we're basically getting to the fight of Shinso versus Midoriya. So you guys already know what's about to happen with that instance. And even after that episode, some hype stuff is about to go down. So with that, that's where we're ending today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like and comment if you want to. You don't have to, but it's always greatly appreciated. Also subscribe. You can give me your opinions about Season 1, or you can give me opinions about this video format. Do you like that I'm just yapping along for 20 to probably 30 minutes straight? It's going to be longer because for the rest of these seasons, it's 25 episodes. So I better prepare my throat for that instance. But do you want some gameplay in the background? Just let me know what you guys want to see in the video as I am going throughout the entirety of the series. But for now, I'm just going to do it like this. And with that, I'll see you next time. Peace.